As much as people know or don't know, you could really change the way that you feel, not only physically, emotionally. We changed his diet, and instead of the 5-month diagnosis, we had him for over 5 years through food.
You're with The Capitalist Sage, a twice-a-month podcast that seeks out entrepreneurs and experts that speak to the real-world life of doing business for their sage advice. Now, with your hosts, Karl Barham and Rico Figliolini.
Welcome to the Capitalist Sage podcast. We're here to bring you advice and tips from seasoned pros and experts to help you improve your business. I'm Karl Barham with Transworld Business Advisor, and my co-host is Rico Figliolini with Mighty Rockets Digital Marketing and the publisher of the Petrie Corner magazine. Hey, Rico, how you doing today? Good. Any sponsors today for the podcast?
Well, Atlanta Tech Park is our major sponsor. We're in their podcast studios. Atlanta Tech Park here in the city of Petrie Corners in Tech Park. It's an accelerator. Just down the block from and right on the road of Curiosity Lab at Petrie Corners. So this is a 1.5 mile autonomous vehicle track for those that don't know. It's the only one of its kind in the Southeast, and to some degree the only open live living lab, if you will, in North America, or at least in the United States. So lots of things going on, and
absolutely
to doing this episode.
One of the other nice thing is it is powered by 5G, Sprint 5G system here, so that if you have a company that wants to be on that higher speed internet, mobility internet system, you can work out of Atlanta Tech Park or others, do test here, run that. So just a great hub of technology right here in Petrie Corners. Today, we'd like to introduce our guest, Matthew Scott, founder and CEO of Press Blend Squeeze Cafe and Juice Bar.
Hey, guys.
It's a local cafe juice bar that opened up in the Forum. There's a couple of them here in the metro Atlanta area. And we're going to talk about starting and building a retail business focused on the healthy food movement. We know that everyone has been trying to get healthy, and we see folks trying different types of diets, trying different types of alternatives to the traditional fast food. And we found it really interesting, your approach in taking a look at this market and being an entrepreneur and trying to build one. So we want to talk a little bit about your journey in doing that. Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
No, absolutely. And guys, thanks very much for having me. I really appreciate it. Before 2 years ago, I was not in this business. So I was in corporate America for about 15 years, both from significant leadership roles in Fortune 500 companies down to startup companies and taking them public, all in high growth areas. And I saw an opportunity here. And, it's kind of like how most people get brought to changing their diets. It's when you get punched in the face. And so myself, my dad looked at me and was given 5 months to live from the doctor, told me that he had stage 4 esophageal cancer. And he was my best friend. And I'm sure like the rest of us would do and say, well, what can we do about that? What options do we have? And, so diet is an extremely strong portion of influence into everyone's life. As much as people know or don't know, you could really change the way that you feel, not only physically, emotionally, and so we changed his diet. And instead of the 5-month diagnosis, we had him for over 5 years through food. So literally from that, I felt a calling to put together a strategic business plan on how can we change and save lives through food. So that's literally our mission at Press Blend Squeeze, is that's to save lives through food. And we do that multiple ways, and we could get into that a little bit on that as we go forward. But that's what we're trying to do. We had the opportunity, I'm glad that you noted that it's just starting out down here in Atlanta. We had the opportunity, we were living in Chicago when we started this business, and we could have put this anywhere in the United States that we wanted to put it, because we moved back to Atlanta to put it here. We saw a significant void in the Atlanta market in comparison to other areas of the country from a quick service, healthy restaurant and juice bar. If you're driving around Peachtree Corners, there's not that many options that you're going to be able to get to, and people thank me each day for opening up, and we're truly seeing the snowball go downhill right now, from people, grabbing on. We actually took over an old juice bar there, but it was out and closed for I think almost a year. And so we took it over, and so people are just beginning to realize that we're back in there, and they're very thankful for that.
So if I can ask a question around, your background, did you have a food background when you started thinking about a nutrition background? Tell me a little bit about your background and how it helped you, come up with the concept.
Yeah, sure. So food background, if you call it this, when I was putting myself in high school through college, I was had the privilege of going to work for a quick service restaurant that was the first location of a then soon to be broadly franchised restaurant. So I was a hard worker. They brought me in and they allowed me to be one of their lead trainers and opener of new locations. So I got some good experience on how to take a model and replicate it and open it, in a new location and to train the staff. In addition, from a food customer service aspect, I worked in restaurants going through college to make money. So I dealt with customers, delivered customer service, was able to take orders attentively and give that customer level of customer service in the food industry. But as far as being knowledgeable in the space, I considered myself a relatively healthy eater. I was always an active in sports, physical working out, and exercise. And so I would eat healthy, but my knowledge increased via doing my due diligence over the web and talking to industry professionals, doctors, nutritionists, etc., once I started looking into it for my dad.
So what do most people don't really understand about the food choices they make, and how were you able to help modify your dad's diet? What were some of the changes that you saw really have an impact?
Sure. So after my father passed, I was a little bit anxious. I said, Doc, my dad was 67. I got 2 young kids. Like this, help me out here. And he said, your father's cancer was not genetic. It was not hereditary. He goes, there's 3 things proven to fight cancer. And that's eating clean, eating green, and exercise. So, reality is that majority of Americans, I would voucher to say that majority of people in the world don't eat enough green vegetables. Green vegetables at basic biology, it has chlorophyll and photosynthesis, and that's what gives your cells energy. It also allows your cells to reproduce, gives them the strength to reproduce at a high level. And so cancer feeds on deficient cells. So if you're, and this is part of what extended my dad's life, is by having cells that are strong and can defend themselves, cancer got nowhere to live. I'm sure we've all heard stories of people being able to overcome cancers and become cancer-free, and some of that's through killing, radiation and killing all those cancerous cells, but that kills all the good with the bad. So if you do some research, people have become cancer-free through diets. And so greens are that prominent thing. And,
So one question along that, why don't people eat more greens?
Yeah.
Here in the U.S., here in Georgia, what's holding us back?
Okay, so let's be real. It is accessibility. It is convenience. Our lives are not going to get any slower. Our lives are not going to get any less busy. And the food that we have at our disposal is a convenience factor. And it's gotten to the place where the food industry is a business rather than a need. So, when we were all go back 200 years in the United States and we're farmers and gatherers and everything, we ate to survive. Now, people, the food is a business. They're trying to make it. What do you do in a business? If you're not going to grow from a volume standpoint, you're going to try to make it less expensive, more, and so the majority of food choices at our disposal are from large businesses that are trying to make food cost effectively.
So is this part of the movement that makes like Whole Foods, Sprouts?
Oh, absolutely.
These types of places, because on one hand you see these places that are popping up everywhere. So there is, for those that can access it, they're still not making the choice. Whether you're in a supermarket, they're not building diets around fruits and vegetables and increasing the amount of greens in there.
Well, I would be careful because the fastest growing segment of the supermarket is organic vegetables. If you're looking at all the areas.
Yeah, I mean, I can see when I go to H Mart, for example, when you go to an Asian supermarket, you will see a big area of vegetables. When you go to a Walmart, only recently in the last few years have they increased it a little bit, and only in those areas where they're competing with an H Mart or something along those lines. So Americans still are not consuming. You'll find South Americans, you'll find Asian communities that are first generation, maybe American. They're still consuming that, but as they get further away from that generation, they're going back to the processed stuff. They're going back to the easy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about in growing up in New York, how many fruit stands did you would go to fresh? If you're in Brooklyn, picking avenues in the city,
Top Tomato, big one over there.
All of these places that had that, and so accessibility made it easier for people to get fresh, good quality, healthy food choices, and so as part of that, the shift in parts of the country where that tradition wasn't there, and it was more based on supermarkets where they can control what people are selecting is impacting that.
Yeah, I agree. And it's accessibility, it's knowledge. So, people say, oh yeah, I like to eat healthy, but they don't necessarily know what that means. So like it's being able to truly understand, even my father, he would joke to me and be like, oh, I'm eating an organic banana. And I'm like, well, you don't have to eat an organic banana. The skin on the banana protects the banana. Like, so like it's the knowledge of, how to do it, but it's also, there is so much of an emotional, psychological, it's almost reactive because we're so busy. So all of a sudden, instead of it, you being conscious about what you're eating, your brain goes, oh, I'm hungry. And the reality is studies show that sugar is 8 times more addicting than cocaine. And what you can find is in majority of that quick service food that you have an emotional reaction that says, oh, I've waited so long, I'm starving. Now I need to go get something to eat. Let me pull over into this drive-through. I'm almost certain that almost any option that you choose there has sugar in it, high fructose corn syrup in it, so your body reacts, and there's an emotional receptiveness that goes off in your brain. That says,
you just brought something up though that really, and I haven't seen this, and it doesn't make sense to me now that you're talking about this. Is that you have Starbucks, you have Dunkin' Donuts. The majority of what they sell is through that drive-through. You'll never see a Starbucks without a drive-through. In fact, there was one that I remember that was located somewhere, and they asked, and they got a rezoning, so then they were able to have a drive-through through that one, because that was the only way to save that store. And I have yet to see, I think, a drive-through juicing bar.
I know.
And it doesn't take long to create it. It's just as long to create a colada, I think, in a Dunkin' Donuts.
Sure.
So I haven't seen that. And that we talk about how easy. If that was easy, if I could drive through that, I probably would get that over something else. I would think.
Sure.
Why doesn't
people ask for it all the time? It's absolutely on the radar as far as like a convenience. Now, what I would say is that because a lot of times you're making it to order, it's not going to be necessarily the speed of others. But,
I've waited for a minute. I mean, It doesn't take long depends on the process.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely on the radar. We've discussed it. We've looked at locations. We're not there yet as far as, but it is on the radar. And I've had a lot of people bring up the convenience factor. So it goes back to three things. It goes back to convenience. It goes back to knowledge, and it goes back to emotional kind of reactions and addictions to sugar. And I even go to people, the misunderstanding that healthy can't taste good. So a lot of people kind of coin, I used to have people come into our Dunwoody location, and the wife and the kids would order something, and the husband was there, and I said, "Hey, can I get you something?" He goes, "Oh, I don't eat healthy." And I said, well, hold on. Like, what does that mean? I was like, wow. You don't like guacamole? No, I like guacamole. And I go, well, hold on. Like, can we get you some a turkey wrap with some hummus and some roasted peppers and some balsamic glaze on it? Man, it sounds really good. And then I'd say, well, how about a PB&J smoothie? Tastes like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but doesn't have any sugar in it, but it's really good. Oh, I like PB&Js. Avocado toast, soup. Like, they're like, oh man. And then they eat it and then they go, man, this is really good. And I go, I guess you eat healthy. Like, so it's that coined misconception of
it's true.
Healthy can taste good.
But you also have food though, right?
Oh, we do. Yeah.
See, now that didn't, and I know that vaguely you have food there. I haven't been into the store yet.
Sure.
But I would not realize that. I think if I was a passerby, I would think juice bar, and I wouldn't think food.
Sure.
Just that. But you do have a menu, though.
Absolutely. We do about 50% of our business in food. Okay. We do a ton of catering. One of our biggest growth pillars is in corporate catering. When I was in corporate America, eating the same, we would cater probably 3 to 4 times a week for lunch. And it was kind of from a rotation. And, I'd get pizza. I could tell you I'm probably going to get pizza. I could tell you I might get a fried chicken sandwich for breakfast. And, I might get Mexican or some type of Southwestern. And majority of those, after I ate them, I was ready for my couch. And corporations are realizing this. And they're actually like, some of the large corporations, and the reasons why we chose these locations are strategically positioned to align with those corporations. So like Newell Rubbermaid, for their snack attack on a quarterly basis, caters 600 acai bowls from us. IHG regularly, for their executives. I'm actually in February, I'm going down and meeting with the CEO's executive assistant, and she has 14 people that report up to her that schedule for hundreds of people, but we're giving them a tasting of our lunch. I mean, so we have these large corporations that are not only providing lunch for their employees, but they're being more conscious of what they're providing because it's actually leading to productivity. Like they're going back and not trying to, relax at their desk.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say, I remember doing meetings and corporate training around the world for years, and we'd have 4 or 5 days of, catered in meals and so on. And I would actually ask for certain menus on certain days. Because what happens right after lunch and they come back in and that energy drop. So we would actually specifically pick activities and exercise right after lunch, which had movement, kind of wake people up because those heavy lunches, they'd come in with pasta, and folks would be ready to go snooze town. But even having options that gave energy boosts, the afternoon snack break would have muffins and donuts and cakes and cookies, and we started shifting to nuts and trying. You started seeing that shift. But that was my two choices. There wasn't a menu of stuff that people could do on that break time that helps boost that productivity that you were mentioning. So I think that's something that's happening in the market that people.
So also we were talking a little bit before the show, before you showed up. We were talking about how it's Amazon proof almost. You can't ship certain things, right?
Sure.
You still got to eat. You can't go out that way. But how do you find the challenge of doing? You opened a brick and mortar store. You didn't have to build it. Obviously, it was built out, and you're there. And
we had to build out our last one. So our first one. Yeah.
So how do you find that? How do you in a world where people are shifting away to Amazon ordering, like I said, although this is Amazon proof, or Uber Eats, DoorDash, and stuff like that. How do you find that? How did you find it opening up a place like that? Yeah, that's not a franchise.
You chose brick and mortar and a retail location to deliver this concept. What were you thinking? How do you make that decision?
So when I experienced the benefits of what we provided, and I would encourage anybody that listens to this podcast, I'd encourage you guys, go in and grab a juice. Go grab a Roots and Fruits, which is a juice that has some beets in it and has a little bit of orange, some ginger. Tell me how you feel in 30 minutes. Dynamically different than anything that you've ever eaten or drinking or drank from any other place. So, the reason or the how I did that is said, man, this is amazing.
But how did you develop the idea, into a business? I mean, how you had to open a brick and mortar. What did you face? Buying equipment, the ingredients. What's the actionable side of that?
If the rest of the business the product and the need is clear,
right,
and you're matching those two up, but you're running a business,
right,
and it takes a bunch of things coming together.
Yeah, and this is the second location, right?
Yeah,
that you have. So you're working towards either a chain of them or franchising at some point.
Yeah.
So how is that working? Doing that?
Yeah. So again, I go back to my experience. I was part of a startup. When I was at a startup, we wore many hats. I got recruited. Actually, I should say this. When I was part of Rubbermaid, my initial job was for a division that started around 30 million. And I got put into, at a young age, blessed and believed in by a president and a mentor that gave me significant responsibility to take that 30 million division, gave me a significant amount of budget, the ability to strategically put the strat plan together and grow that business within 4 years to 150 million globally. I got tapped out of Rubbermaid and recruited out of Rubbermaid to go be part of the largest office products company in the world. And they brought me in with a pipeline funnel of 0. And they said, we brought you in here because your skill set is different and in a need of nothing that we have internally. And they tapped me, and within 2 years, we had a sales funnel of over 150 million in the pipeline. And I had a team of 8, rolling up to me. And so I wrote those strat plans. I built those strat plans. So the way that I did this was I treated this. I said, hey, there's an opportunity. Let me develop this business as I would develop any other business. So I went and sourced out partners. I went and did my research on how other competitors were running. I identified machinery that we needed. I put together the menu. I oversaw all the marketing. And I mean, we've had wildly success in 2 years that I feel so good about. I mean, and blessed, honestly. We got like almost 9,000 unique people that have come into our store and given us their telephone number and said, hey, we are okay with you contacting us. Here's our telephone number. We want to be part of your membership program. Like, I don't see businesses that are like national brands even, doing that in single locations and stuff. So we've been putting the right strat around the business to have it perform. So whether I have experience or not, I treated it like any other business or any other product line that I was about to grow. And
any challenges that you'd like to share?
I mean, we all got challenges, but I would say to folks that are entrepreneurs is be careful of your blind spots. We all have them. We all have things that we overlook. One of the biggest hurdles is going from 1 to 2. So as an entrepreneur, you're at that location. You're there. You're part of that location.
Yeah.
You can't cut yourself in half. So, I would say, put the process in place, and just because the process, operational efficiency, and that's something that we had to build out, and is, a continuous work in progress. So I would.
I think what you're describing though is, a theme across big corporations or small business, and it's a question of scaling.
Yep.
Doing it once, it could have been lucky, right time, right place, stars align,
Right.
1,000 reasons why you're able to achieve success. And sometimes it's brilliance and hard work, absolutely.
Yep.
But to replicate it in another location, what are some of the things that, knowing what you know now, you would advise someone thinking of doing, multiple, like, what would be things they can put in place that would ease that transition into growth?
I'd probably say to people to create a network, right? Because we're all good at something, and we're all not good at everything. So by having a network of a sounding board or a trusted board of advisors, it allows you to be stronger in areas that you're weak. So it allows individuals that might be able to be stronger in certain areas to help you strengthen, sharpen, or have a visible blind spot.
I think you're hitting on something. If you've seen many successful people and they talk about their success, there's usually a network of advisors they have. Even if you look at a large corporation, they got a board of directors, nonprofit, governing boards. There are these folks that serve multiple functions. One is to hold a mirror up to you and say, hey, I know what you're saying and seeing, but here's what I'm seeing, and here's things you may not notice, may help with the blind spot. They have wisdom and advice to give in the areas that you may not have the expertise, be able to do that. Third, they can help hold you accountable. If you said you were going to do something, if you're the boss, who's gonna challenge you if you decide, we'll do that next month? But if you have that advisory group, they could be in a position to hold you accountable for them. And the last one is some of the networks that affords you. They know people that might help you be more successful, and it's one of the things we often see entrepreneurs struggling with. They eventually build it. We were talking earlier about these groups that do that, but they may go 15 years of pain in before they realize, man, if I only knew someone that knew about payroll and what could happen if I messed that up.
It's like anything else in life. If you're a writer, you're a sports person, everyone thinks you're overnight success, but it took you those years of pain to be able to get there. And most people don't want that. They want to be able to see success, and maybe you get that advice from that successful person or that team of people to help you get there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate and blessed for the people that have come into my life, and you know what? A lot of times, people have the desire to help people. You know, sometimes you just have to ask for it. Other times you have to go look for it. But people want to help people. And so, you know, entrepreneurs often like to think that they have to do everything themselves. And that's something that an additional piece of advice I would give to entrepreneurs is you're no good to anyone if you're burnt out. So give yourself some space and give your team some trust.
No, I agree. I said the one thing you can't manufacture and create more is time. And so there's only so much time that an individual has. And as you grow a business, it actually requires more time very often. And if you don't build a team to support you to be able to do that, makes that a challenge. So tell me a little bit about what you got going on next. What's next for the company and for you?
So for Happy New Year to you guys. 2020, it's going to be a great year. We are gangbusters into New Year's cleanse programs. So it is the best way to reset your palate, control your addiction to sugar, get you jump started into your nutritional needs. It's amazing the results that we see. We've been doing this for over 2 years. People come back re-energized. They sleep better. Their skin's better. And this is in 3 days. Last time I did a cleanse, I lost 8 pounds. I hear that over and over again. But you're refreshed. You're rejuvenated. And then, crazy enough, you might think, oh, yeah, after 3 days, I'll be ready to eat a cheeseburger. You know what? You're not. Like, you're ready to go down the road of having that healthy palate, that healthy diet, and it's crazy what it does for you. So that's number one. Number two, I would ask any business within this kind of metro Atlanta area to give us a chance at catering. Everybody has a need one time or another, probably in the next couple weeks. I'm sure every single business has one lunch that they're going to be looking to serve to multiple people. Give us a chance, put us in there, and I think you are going to love it. I think you're going to enjoy it, and I want to be talking to you about your second order. So give us a catering opportunity because it's totally an awesome experience, and we got resounding reviews and feedback from it. So we'd love to work with people.
Awesome, glad. Well, you're located in the Forum here
Right
in Peachtree Corner.
Yep.
And your first location is where?
It's in Dunwoody Village. So where the Fresh Market is, or if you know where Village Burger is, or if you know where the post office is down there. So it's in Dunwoody Village, which is getting rejuvenated as well. So that's kind of exciting.
And how can folks reach you, learn more online, social media?
Yeah. So we got thousands of followers on Instagram, and which is Press Blend Squeeze. The location here is Press Blend Squeeze at Peachtree Corners. Facebook, Press Blend Squeeze. If anybody wants to shoot me an email, if they have questions about a cleanse, info@pressblendsqueeze.com. Comes directly to me. I see them all. I'd love to do a group cleanse. We're doing it with a lot of gyms. So last week, we had like 70 days of cleanses go out. And so this next week we're partnering with another gym here in this area, and we have a couple more on the radar. So it's time. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family. Do it for your energy, but do it to feel better. So it's pretty cool.
Well, I want to thank you very much for being our guest today. Our guest, Matt Scott, CEO of Press Blend Squeeze. For your time today and sharing part of your journey and inspiring others that may be thinking about making a change in their career or their life, and finding ways to do it in a way that's aligned to something that you're passionate about, being healthy, and how to solve this problem where folks can't find it as convenient to get those nutritional greens into their bodies that they can. So really appreciate your joining us for that. We also want to thank Atlanta Tech Park for hosting us every time we have one of our episodes here, the Capitalist Sage podcast. If you're starting a business and looking for a great environment to come and work and be around, people that are going on this entrepreneurial journey along the way with you. It's a great way to build network. Entrepreneurs sometimes can be a very lonely endeavor. So having other founders and makers and business leaders to collaborate with is really powerful. I'm Karl Barham with Transworld Business Advisors of Atlanta Peachtree. Our business advisors are available to consult on your business, whether you're looking to improve or grow the business, whether you're looking to exit or start a business. You can contact any one of our agents to be able to help you with that. Available at www.tworld.com/Atlanta Peachtree. And Rico, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've got going on over the next couple of...
Sure. So I run Mighty Rockets. We're a social media online company. We provide content, branding, and whether it's on LinkedIn or Instagram and soon to be TikTok, because there is a market out there. And believe it or not, in the United States, it's like 24 million users in TikTok, and 40% of them are between 18 and 24, so that age. Voter age, if they vote, maybe. So I do that. That's mightyrockets.com. But I also publish Peachtree Corners magazine, and you can go to livinginpeachtreecorners.com and find our website. We talk about what's going on in the city. We're doing several podcasts upcoming with Peachtree Corners Life with some interesting guests. Also, Prime Lunchtime with City Manager is coming up the Thursday after the fourth Tuesday. We'll be discussing what's going on in the city this month and what the city is planning over the next few months. A lot of new stuff happening out there. And we're working on the next issue of Peachtree Corners magazine, and the cover story, I believe the cover story we're working on right now, and it should be the cover, is innovative companies and organizations in Peachtree Corners. We'll be doing some podcasts as well for that to complement that. So there's just a lot of stuff going on. So if you're looking for any, either trying to reach the audience here on Peachtree Corners through the Family Podcast, or you need someone to work with you online or branding, that's what I do.
Oh, fabulous. Well, I would look forward to the next edition of the magazine. And folks, if you go around and take a look and read through it, just knowing what's going on here in the local community, whether it's business, whether it's what's happening in the political scene, what's happening with various organizations, just a good way to keep up with events and activities in the area. So I want to thank you for that. That's all we have for today. Look forward to talking to you some more and having some more great guests like Matt Scott that came to visit us today. Thank you, everyone.
This has been The Capitalist Sage with Karl Barham and Rico Figliolini, the twice-a-month podcast with entrepreneurs and business experts. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Want more? Visit our website at capitalistsagepodcast.com.